we are in Kylie's room, and a while back I did the ombre wall tutorial in her room, which if you guys missed it, this is what it looks like, all of that. And you can't see because her desk and her nightstand are in the way, but it fades to a dark turquoise. And so if you are interested in knowing how to do that, the tutorial is still on our YouTube channel at Reclaim Your Space on YouTube. So go check that out. We do put some tutorial videos on there every so often, and so make sure to go and subscribe to that. But today, if you need to hang a curtain rod, I'm actually up here hanging her curtain rod for her. We took her curtains down when we painted the room, and so I started to hang it back up, and then just thought, maybe not everybody knows how to hang up a curtain rod, or maybe you're super intimidated by the thought of doing that. And not all curtain rods are super easy to hang. So here we are, and to start out with, I had holes already in her wall where apparently I didn't go back and touch them up before we were painting, and so I thought I would show you that as well in case you have the same situation. So, tools that you're going to need, or I'm going to be using, that I find helpful for one, covering up the holes, would be, I like this DAP patch and paint, mainly because you've got the joint compound in this handy dandy little stick, and then you've got the spackle knife on top, which then you don't have to go find. It's like a 2-in-1. So love this tool product. And then I normally also use needle nose pliers. However, I couldn't find them. I think the boys may have raided my toolbox and have taken them all out fishing. So I went and raided their fishing box and came up with these like fishing pliers. And what's really great about them is you see that little nozzle at the end. Well, if you're pulling out anchors out of your wall, old anchors, which if you don't know what I'm talking about, they look like this. You normally put them in if you're hanging something heavy that is just on sheetrock and you're really needing it to support that weight, is why you use anchors. But they're not always the easiest to get back out of the wall if you no longer want them. And so normally, which I left 2 up here in the wall so you can kind of see how great this works, and how I normally do that. Then outside of that, the type of curtain rod that I got requires this type of mounting bracket. And so that's what we're going to hang today. So I'm going to bring you up here, get my stuff, and so that way you can see what's going on, and hopefully this helps you. Let me switch this around. Just use your finger and fill that hole in. Just like that. And then you're going to take the end of your joint compound here, and you're just going to smooth that down. Now, if part of my wall was sticking up, and so I don't want it to look like I have a giant glob of sheetrock there, so I just took the edge here and I scraped it completely off like that. And then I'm going to go back over and put another bit on there. Now I have patched up the rest of these holes. I haven't gone back and done my touch-up paint. So if you're noticing some of the other patchwork here, that isn't painted. So I have the globs on here, and then you're just going to kind of lightly smooth this over, and that is it. So then when you paint over this, that will be completely gone and you no longer have holes. So there is that. Hanging curtain rods.
Oh, wow.
You're gonna need this Phillips head drill, which you're definitely gonna need that. You're gonna need, this is a 1/4 inch drill bit. You are also going to need that. You're going to need your 2 anchors and your 2 screws that come in your package. You are gonna need a pencil and a tape measure. Is that it? I think that is it. So let me switch back around and let me show you. Okay, so when measuring, so I've already hung these two up here for you to kind of see, and you don't have to watch me hang them. So we're gonna hang the third right over here. But when I'm measuring, I will measure typically from the bottom to the top. So curtains come in standard lengths unless you're gonna have them custom made. So you're talking, oh, I'm gonna botch this up. I think it's 82, 94, 108, 112, 120, something like that. So figure out which curtain height is best for you, which when I am hanging curtains, I do not go right here, right above my window, because we're wanting our windows to look taller and bigger. So I always go at least a foot, and then you just kind of have to decide, depending on your window scale, if you need to go even higher. If it's a really tall ceiling, I probably will go even higher than this. I'm not going all the way up to the very top of the ceiling or anything. Like you notice here, this right here is going to be at 96, and I could have gone higher. I didn't, because I just felt like for the scale of the room, I still wanted to have a little bit of room between my ceiling and my window, but this definitely elongates the window higher up than it would if I was to just put it right on top of the window, which would make it look just squatty and short. So I measured 96 inches up from the ground to this bracket here, and then I went ahead and measured from the ceiling down to that spot, and I was right at 12 inches and a quarter. So, ow, that's, okay. So then I went over to my middle. I did the same 12 and a quarter. Now don't always trust that your ceiling is exactly level. It's more than likely not. So this is where you would mark probably every 3 feet across, get your level out, and make sure that it is in fact going level straight across there. So that's how I did that, instead of measuring from the floor to the ceiling on each of them. I'm gonna set this here. Okay. Don't mind all this mess. So we're in the middle of cleaning bedding and organizing and all the stuff because it's January and that's what you do, right? So on window height measuring, that's what I do. I go from the ceiling instead of having to go all the way up from the floor to the top every single time, because a lot of that, your tape measure's not straight or it gets wonky. And so I find that much easier is to measure from the top down. Just make sure to use a level. What else before we get up there? You are going to need to disassemble. So when you get your brackets, they look like this. Let me put it back together so you can see what it looks like. Okay, so it looks like this, and you've got this screw up underneath here that needs to be removed, because when you get up there, you're not going to be able to get the drill. This part right here that's curved that your bar goes through is going to be in your way. So you want it to be just like this with the 2 holes. First, I'll show you how to do the anchors. So this is where you're going to need your drill bit and your pencil and this little doohickey right here. Pencil and a Kylie. Kylie, come help. You are going to, so this top mark right here was our 96 inches. So that's where you would put the top portion, and when I say the top, this right here, at the very top in the center, goes right here on that dot. Now, I would go ahead and mark your horizontal and vertical lines. So the vertical line being right in the center of this, on both the top and the bottom, and then go ahead and mark the very top of each one of those. When you're measuring like 96 inches, you don't want to go up here and measure, because you're going to be off, because the actual rod and where your curtain is hanging is a little bit lower than that. So I find that measuring from this point works the best. And then I like to have the horizontal line, because when you go to mounting these bad boys, You want them to be aligned with one another and not just a little bit off, or it makes your bracket crooked. So there's that. We've now got it marked. We get our drill out. Oh goodness, sorry. Okay, so this is our 1/4 inch drill bit. We're placing it right in the center here of each mark. Wipe that off. We got 2 nice holes there. Okay, this is where you would also normally have a Phillips head screwdriver. I have a flathead, which still works just as well. And you're gonna place your anchors inside the hole. This works much better to use a screwdriver here rather than the drill, because the drill bit can start to strip out your plastic anchor, and you definitely do not want that. It's very difficult to get out once that happens. So doing it with a screwdriver just seems to work much better. So there is that. Now, so we need our drill bit for this, and then the 2 screws that came with your hardware. You're going to go ahead and place those inside the anchor, leaving about a 1/4 inch between the wall and the end of the screw. Okay, and then go ahead and put your bracket on. Voila, and it's very tight. If this wasn't already tight, you could go ahead and get your drill back out and tighten these up just a little bit, but this one is good and snug. Okay, so brackets generally come with this little screw here, and what that is for is to keep your rod in place from shifting. And so you're gonna want to go ahead and get that all the way back out, because it's really upsetting when you go to hang your rod up and it has your curtain on it and it's really heavy, and this is sticking out, so your rod isn't gonna go down in there. So now we are attaching this with the little bitty screw that we took off just a little bit ago. If I can get it in there. Okay. Tighten it just a little bit more. Oh man, that's okay. There we go. Okay, so that is it. I don't know, I'm hoping that answered your questions, and if you've never really seen the start to finish of hanging curtains, I really hope that helps. It's really not that difficult, but I do know that people get hung up on that. So, I guess I'll go ahead and hang mine up so you can see what the finished product looks like. Now, don't judge these curtains. These are curtains that we've already had, and so we are playing around whether or not we still like them or not. But the sun comes up in her window side, and so she is going to be so angry if I don't get this fixed for her. So I will show you what it looks like. Hold on. So now if you're wondering, like, why do I have different colors here? We really liked this floral pattern that we already had. This was some fabric that we hemmed the sides, made into a panel, and we just really liked the fabric. And so we are keeping that on our outside here, and then we added this solid turquoise in the middle because it's the same color as her ombre wall on the bottom, and I just really liked it. Okay, so now you move the ladder and I will back up. Okay, let me flip you around so you can see the whole thing. Hopefully with the window glare it's not too bad, but there we are. So now we have the curtains hung, and I actually really like it. I think we'll probably still do some drawbacks on the sides, so we'll probably pull this close together in the middle here, and then she can just let it out in the evenings when she's ready to go to bed. But this is why we liked that floral pattern of the fabric here. It ties in with her artwork that she has above her desk. So there we go. Again, if you want to see how to do the ombre wall, go check out our YouTube channel at Reclaim Your Space on YouTube and subscribe to that.